Maybe some of us have lost our homes or possessions, but we've all gone through rather difficult times in the last few years, and it's hard to know when it will end. And Karen and David, our great son, and our other children, our grandchildren who are here tonight, some of them, got together and we said, how can we say thank you for this great country any more than inviting you to be our guests for this remarkable day, beginning at 11 this morning. And so we say, from our family to your family, thank you. It's wonderful to have you with us, and we love and support each one of you. And we're going to get out of this terrible mess that we're in as a country. And we're going to move ahead again, and we're going to make America great. And we're going to continue to build this great country of ours. We'll never be second class to anyone. We'll be the greatest country on earth. Thank you. Go for it. Go for it. Don't you ever get discouraged. Don't you come home from work and say, we've had it. That the worst days are ahead of us. The best days in our lives are ahead of us. And we're going to make it work. And today is the beginning of a great new chapter in our life. And we're grateful that you're here. And we're grateful you brought your friends and your children and your family. Because family is first. And no matter what else happens in our life, we have to take care of our family. And so we're so honored and privileged to have so many families with us tonight. And we thank you for coming, not only from the state of Idaho, but from many other states around this great country of ours to join with us tonight. And we ask God's choice blessings to be with each one of you. Now, tonight we have a very special guest. Tanya and Glenn have been wonderful friends to the Huntsman family and their children, Cheyenne and Rafe, and Hannah and Mary. And Glenn is a very unusual man. Many of you have seen him on the internet or television. He's been a household name to all of us. Some of you listen to him on the radio. And we know what a great American Glenn Beck is and how he's lifted our spirits by teaching us about the Founding Fathers and about the great elements of this remarkable country. But I'd like to tell you tonight about another side of Glenn Beck. I'd like to introduce you tonight to Glenn Beck, the humanitarian. Glenn has raised our Cancer Institute, the largest genetic cancer center in the world, over $2 million. And what a great thing for an individual. And when you hear Glenn's name, I want you to remember Glenn for what he is doing for cancer, for the remarkable gifts that he and Tanya have made themselves, hundreds of thousands of dollars to help those who suffer from cancer, and the money that they've raised through their programs and through the radio and television and internet. And Glenn, I will always love you because first and foremost, aside from your great family, is that you want to help cure this horrible disease. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the great Americans, our dear friend, Mr. Glenn Beck.
To be back. I don't know, it just feels like it kind of makes sense here. I'm glad that the Huntsmans were gracious enough to ask me to come back. I think we had that one protester last year, and I didn't see them. I think they were disappointed that I didn't make anybody mad last year. Welcome back. So I'll try it again. I had somebody ask me earlier today why I come and why I'm here. And they actually phrased it this way: are you here for the money? And I thought, I ain't getting rich on this one. As John just said, all of the proceeds for everything that he does here goes to the Huntsman Cancer Institute. And he's not getting rich on the ticket prices that you paid to get in tonight. I flew myself, my family, and quite a few members of my staff from our new venture GBTV here this I flew them here this weekend because I don't have a message for you. You have a message for the rest of America. You have a message of family and order and peace and gentleness, along with firearms and other things like that.
Love guns.
We were in Wilmington, Ohio last. You from Ohio? I remember my first drink. We were in Wilmington, Ohio last Christmas time, and this is ground zero, they say, of the Depression or the recession that we're in. Out of 12,000 people in this community, 7,000 lost their jobs in one day. CBS News came, 60 Minutes came, ABC, NBC, they all came, and they showed the blight, they showed the troubles with the town. When I called them about 4 months later, they said, "No, thank you. Please, we don't want any more television here, please." And I said, "What happened?" They said, "Well, all of the television cameras would come, and then they would just show the negative of our town. We're survivors. We're thrivers. We don't want to focus on the negative. We want to show what we're doing that's positive." I said, "That's good, because that's exactly what we want to show." America can look at all of her problems, and we have a lot of problems. So does the rest of the world. The rest of the world is facing now a colossal and historic choice: freedom or slavery, light or darkness, love or hate. Which will it be? The question that is being asked silently to each of us is choose. Which one will it be? And in many ways, our society has already made the choice, because we don't as individuals want to choose. We as individuals have been convinced that somehow or another we can get through life without choosing. But you can't. Life isn't a spectator sport. You have to choose. Light or dark, love or hate, freedom or slavery, which will it be? Most people refuse to even see the problems. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to see it. The problems are not the only things to see, though. The solutions and the miracles in everything that happens that is tragic. There is a blessing inside if you care to look for it. What John said a few minutes ago when he said, "We're going to beat this thing," he means it. And so do I. And so do you. When you stood up and you cheered and you applauded, you just need someone to confirm it. We will not only survive, we will thrive. That's who we are. There are problems in our nation, but they're not the problems that you see on the evening news. The problems are we're forgetting. If you read the scriptures, you know the most important word used over and over and over again by the Lord: remember. Remember. That's our biggest problem. We forget. It's a human trait. To fix the problem, all we have to do is remember. In Wisconsin this weekend, a fireman was going to make a float. And I actually saw a picture of it. It's a beautiful float. It was for the town's 4th of July parade. It was a float that looked like the gnarled remains of the World Trade Center. And there's the flag. And he and other firemen were going to hold the flag up in that memorable moment, that snapshot on one of the worst weeks in our nation's history. Wrapped in that darkness, light. The firemen holding up the flag. Well, the unions, the firemen's union, because this one fireman wasn't a union member, decided to tell the other firemen not to participate. Now, when did September 11th become about the unions? When did July 4th become about the unions? We're looking at the wrong union. The union we need to see is the one that Abraham Lincoln preserved. The union that we live in. But to preserve the union, we have to celebrate it. We have to know it. We have to remember. How can we possibly renew the promise of the union when there's a new survey out that shows that 50% of Americans don't have any idea who we fought on the revolution? 50% can't tell people it was America versus Germany or somebody. Great Britain, 50%. Now I gotta believe that number is wrong for this crowd. 40%, 42% have no idea when the Declaration of Independence was signed. I'll give you a hint. It was July... actually, it's a trick question. It was July 2nd. But they can't tell you what year. They can't tell you that we declared our independence in 1776. How can we possibly solve our country's problems if we have forgotten the basics? And finally, one more. Harvard came out with a study this weekend and said that Americans should not go to 4th of July parades because you'll turn into a Republican. I'm going to disregard that cheer. It's not about the parties, you know that. It's about the principles, and you know that as well. Actually, the survey says nothing like you'll turn into a Republican. What it says is you'll understand your responsibility, that you will participate more. If you take your children and they remember coming to a 4th of July celebration, they will understand America and they will vote. And here's the amazing thing in the study. It is unchangeable. You do not lose it as you get older. If you celebrate the 4th of July, you never, ever forget your responsibility. That's incredible. So, what is it that 4th of July is supposed to remind us? Well, it's the union of the states, the union of our hearts. Our problems are big, but our minds, our spirits, and our hearts are bigger. And I know this to be true because I know history. De Tocqueville, he was a Frenchman who came over and said, "What is it about this great America, huh?" If he were asking me today, I would say it was the donut double cheeseburger that I purchased over there at lunchtime. If you didn't have it, I would riot until they start making them again. The great thing about it is it's a glazed donut cut in half, not just one patty, but two, bacon and cheese. I told my wife we can't go into any place that's air conditioned because it may just congeal. I said, honey, for about 24 hours, keep me near heat.